Hey horror fans, welcome back to Room 237 as I continue my marathon of 80 slasher films. Apparently this is one, uh, supernatural slasher film I guess, but it's 1987's Bloody New Year, which I know just got an Arrow release not too long ago. Also known as Time Warp Terror, is actually a British film. Directed by Norman J. Warren, produced by Hayden Pearce, written by Frazer Pearce. Stars Suzy Aitchison, Nikki Brooks, Colin Haywood, Mark Powley, Catherine Roman, and Julian Ronnie. And apparently the version I just watched on YouTube, which is 89 minutes, must be like severely cut because evidently it's 93 minutes. And when I compare what I just saw to some of the reception that I just read, comparing it to early works of Herschel Gordon Lewis or early Sam Raimi, a lot of the effects, gore effects, if any, must have been cut, which would have helped my experience. Unless there's 4 minutes of credits or something that was cut out, but not that it matters because I wasn't a big fan of this film. I thought it was kind of silly. There were parts that, like Slayer is a supernatural slash film. I thought was very good. This, it's not as bad, but there were parts that kind of reminded me of The Boogeyman. And why, by and large, I'm not a supernatural slasher fan, although the Slayer was pretty damn good. It opens up in 1959. A group of partygoers are celebrating New Year's at this hotel, the Grand Island Hotel, which is out on this remote island, and then they just disappear. No one knows what happens to them. Then 3 decades later, we have a group of friends. We have 2 couples, Tom and Leslie, and then Janet and Rick, and then their friend Spud. They're at the fair. It takes place in July. I'm guessing it's 4th of July. They piss off these hooligans. The hooligans chase them. They get to a boat. They flee on boat. Boat gets fucked up. They end up shipwrecked on the island with the hotel, which appears abandoned. But when they get inside, it's all looks like it's up and running. It's all finished and everything. But it's all decked out with Christmas decorations. I'm guessing is because they don't know how to celebrate New Year's. or the whole time warp aspect would not have been revealed at the end later if they had put like New Year's 1959 or whatever kind of decorations. But they all split up and look around. They even find some old clothes to put on that is totally 50s style. Like Spud has a white t-shirt and a red jacket. It looks like he's dressed like James Dean. They even style their hair like greaser style. At first they experience sort of smaller stuff. Like one couple goes down to the basement to find the breaker box. They start to make out, this box of fireworks starts going off. The other couple is up in a bedroom, and the girl sees a woman's reflection in the mirror, then vanish. Spud even comes across like the ballroom and sees these performers performing, but then they disappear. So they're all talking, like, what the hell's going on? This is a weird place. Then they come across the theater where the classic movie Feed Without a Face, which is a movie I saw years ago. I've never owned it. I would love to get it. Is playing, so they sit and watch it. And this is a scene that I thought had a cool effect. It was pretty seamless for 1987. Again, I know I sound like shit. It's late, I'm tired, and I'm all stuffed up. The projector gets messed up, so one of the guys goes up to try to fix it. Spud goes up to the screen. He's kind of making jokes along with the movie. And then this character just leaps out of the screen. Of course, they're covered in, like, black and made to look black and white. And it looks like he just scratches him, and that was enough to kill him. Again, another reason why I think this was heavily cut. But all we see is like a scratch on his face. But he dies, and the character vanishes. And then they split up, and then we just see a bunch of I mean, I'll say, yeah, there were some different ways they used the supernatural elements. Like, one of the couples ends up, I think, near a boathouse, and this giant net just attacks the girlfriend. And of course, there's like the kind of music that you would use for like creepy crawly scenes. I don't really know how to describe it. But she's flopping around, can't get it off of her. So then the guy takes an axe and hits a chunk of net that's beside her. And there's like a shriek, and then the net sort of goes limp. Which I thought that was a neat idea as well. But then the other couple, they're out walking around, and they hear this disembodied talking, and talking over talking, so it's all inaudible or unintelligible. And then they start looking around, and there's these like footprints happening in the sand, and I swear there's a studio audience laughing over it. I did read that one critic said it's like Scooby-Doo being put through the filter of The Shining, which I can see. It is almost like if there's a Scooby-Doo episode that paid homage to The Shining. And then this one girl, one of the girls runs off. She gets caught in like a sandstorm or a dust storm. And then it totally goes off the rails, and I guess becomes what this one critic said is early Sam Raimi, because the hooligans show up. You find out they've been following them by boat ever since. And they kind of start killing each other. Like, one kills one of the girls, Leslie. Because one of the couples, Leslie and Tom, they find a cottage. Hooligan gets there and, like, impales her with something. But then she turns into a zombie. And it's not like a Romero, Dawn of the Dead zombie. They sort of like, I can't even think of the character's name now. It's pissing me off. The lead on Return Living Dead. You know, like running around, talking, just trying to kill, or like the crazies, they could use weapons. And the zombie effects are really laughable. They pretty much just mess their face up a bit, mess their hair up, and just put gray makeup on them. And then before you know it, they're all sort of killing each other, turning into zombies. So yeah, a little bit of an Evil Dead feel, but not really. I can see why someone would say, like, early Sam Raimi. I had to, like, read along with it because it was so forgettable. I watched it a couple hours ago. Bunch of paranormal shit at the hotel happens. And then eventually they're greeted by a woman. I think it's one of the ones from the very beginning of the film, who looks like the zombified, like a zombified version of one of the other girls. Says that they're, and I thought this was kind of a stupid explanation, stuck in a perpetual time warp because on New Year's Eve in 1959, an aircraft had this experimental cloaking device and crashed on the island because, and they come across a site of a crash, but then they see another crash, and it ends with Carol and Rick. They're on the beach, they're running, they get to the hooligan's boat, but then he sees one of their friends, be like, wait for me, so he runs to help her. I think it was all an apparition. There's this quicksand that he quickly falls through, and he's like up to his head. Then one of the hooligans comes up with, I guess, a battery-operated radio saw. Cuts his head off, which again makes me think the effects were cut. And that I got probably the video nasty version. So then the last girl, Carol, just goes out on the boat, and I thought this was a decent effect too, because she's sitting there, and we just see her go like, whoop, like pulled under water through the boat, and then we see like a New Year's Eve party back in the hotel with a bunch of people, all our characters, they're dancing, but then Carol is like on the other side of a mirror, trying to break through. Screen goes to black and she screams. If it feels like I didn't go that in depth, it's because I just didn't really care for this movie. I thought it was very silly. I know this was not going to be a very serious kind of film. I think it is supposed to be more entertaining and fun, which is why I say it's something like the atmosphere had nothing to it, even for like a remote island. So saying shit like that doesn't really matter. I thought the dialogue was really poor. The acting wasn't that great. It it did keep escalating, getting crazier and crazier, which I guess is fine, but in a more entertaining movie like Evil Dead or Evil Dead 2 or Return of the Living Dead or Reanimator, that's then it is more entertaining. Or they're more interesting, so you enjoy as it gets crazier. Where here, it just, I I look at some of the movies that get Arrow releases, and then there's other ones I'd be like, why didn't that get one? Even though I don't buy Arrow because they're fucking expensive. But yeah, Bloody New Year, I probably could have gone more in depth with it for you. This is not one of the worst I've seen. It's not one of the worst I've seen even through this marathon. Well, it's one of the worst. It's not the worst. I don't even hate this film. It's just I guess I just wasn't interested enough to really give it the devotion to go through every little plot detail and what happened to each character. Especially since I think I saw a cut version, which is unfortunate, but yeah, this has got to be one of my worst reviews, but yeah, I'm sure I'll get it in the comments. If not, I'll at least get a comment on how I look and sound because I'm tired and stuffed up, but yeah, 1987's Bloody New Year. I didn't really care for it, but thanks for watching.